Okay, well, that puts us at 5 minutes after the hour. This webinar is leveraging your listings to find new buyers, and this is advertising solutions to fill your kvCORE database with fresh contacts. My name is Cameron Laird. I am the product director for our marketing services here at Inside Real Estate, and I'm going to take you through some techniques that you can use to find new buyers and fill your kvCORE database with fresh contacts. What we're going to be talking about primarily today is a concept called a Facebook lead form ad. And this is the key to today's conversation. And what's great about these ads is that they are kind of a multi-step process that is going to help to make sure you get really good contact information from anybody who sees your ad on Facebook. So on the left-hand side of the screen here, I'm showing an example of an ad. You can see I'm advertising a listing. It tells a little bit about it as a new reduced price. You can click to see pictures and more details. Now, that's the main call to action there. If I click on learn more, it's going to take me to this lead form in the middle panel, which is the capturing the contact information for the lead that's clicked through from the ad. And this contact information, what makes this so special is that this is pre-populated with the person's profile from their Facebook account. So we're really creating a very low friction type of lead form to make sure we're capturing contact information and getting it through to us as seamlessly as possible. And what we find with these ads is they have really good engagement with people who are clicking through. You're getting good, solid contact information because that barrier to entry is so low. You're not showing a form that's blank and having people think about it. They're really just getting to the point. They're filling out the form because it's pre-populated. They click on next and it takes them right through to where they submit that lead. Now, before we go any further, what I want to sort of just establish for people is what these leads actually are. So leads that you capture through this method are typically homeowners and renters that Facebook has identified through their algorithm who thought your property looked interesting on Facebook. And if you think a little bit about what people are doing on Facebook, they're scrolling through their app, they're seeing all sorts of different things, they're keeping in touch with their family and friends and their interests and that kind of stuff. And they've stopped on your ad because it sort of piqued their interest and they clicked on it in sort of a passive type of fashion. So that is by contrasting to something like a Google pay-per-click ad where somebody is actively going into Google, they're typing in a particular location and homes for sale. They're actively participating and actively asking for information. In this case, we've kind of slipped the information in front of them. They thought it looked interesting and they're passively clicking. So as a result, your approach with these leads needs to be low pressure, but provide value for days, weeks, months, and years. And a good percentage of these will eventually work with you. So that's the good news. You're getting really solid contact information from people. You can get the engine inside of kvCORE firing on all cylinders for you to keep in touch with these people and provide that value to them. Even if it's as simple as a quick reach out to make sure they're getting the information they need. That's what you're going to get from me. So I want to sort of set the stage here with this to allow people sort of just to think about what these leads actually look like and what kind of profile they're going to have. So to run a Facebook lead form ad, you need a couple of different things, starting with a Facebook business page. If you don't have one, it's very, very easy to get one just by going to facebook.com/ads. And they have a wizard there to make it really, really easy for you to sign up and get a Facebook business page, a Facebook business account, which is necessary. You can't run ads against your own personal account. And then you need a page to go against that. So that's where that comes into play. You're going to need to use Facebook Ads Manager, which I'll show you in a couple of minutes. And then you're going to need some way to get the leads into kvCORE. So I'm going to walk you through how to do all this, how to create the ad, create the lead form. I'll show you where the leads go. And then I'll show you I'll talk a little bit about adding some automation to make sure those leads get into kvCORE. With that, we're going to go into a live demonstration. I'm going to go to my browser and I'm going to go to my Facebook ad account here. And I'm in Facebook Ad Manager. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click here to create a new ad. I'm in the wrong place. Here's one I created earlier. I got to just trash this one. Okay, so I'm going to create a new ad. And I'm going to go through this step by step so you can see the process that goes into play here in creating a Facebook ad. We're going to start with a buying type of auction, and we're going to select lead generation as our consideration. And this is what we're trying to do. So we want to use this for lead generation. We're going to start there. I'm going to click on continue. And it's going to take me into creating a campaign. Now you can name your campaign whatever you want. You can give it a meaningful name. In this case, it could be, lead ad for this case. And then what I'm going to do the next is I'm going to have to set my special ad category. And this is really important because as being in the housing industry and real estate, we need to actually declare our special ad category because there are specific rules and regulations that we need to follow with respect to how we advertise that Facebook has to uphold. So it's a matter of making sure we identify that up front. If you were to choose a different category like employment or special issues or what have you, and you put up a housing ad, their system is actually pretty smart to reject that. But if you identify it up front, it makes it a lot easier for their system to be set up to allow you to follow the rules to make sure your ad gets running. So from there, I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, and I'm going to go to the next step here, which is where we're going to set our daily budget. So you need to set a daily budget. This is how much you're going to spend on a daily basis to get your ad running. And that is, I'm sorry, I'm just reading. There's a question here that says, make sure that my screen is full screen so it's hard to see because half of my face. So what you want to do is in Zoom, you want to make sure you're minimizing the view of my face. And I want to make sure everybody can hear me okay, because I hear somebody say the audio is very sketchy. Can you hear me okay? Maybe Katie, you can let me know. Okay, cool. I want to make sure. Good stuff. So it sounds like most people can hear me. All right, so in terms of the budget, a good starting point is going to be probably in the range of about $10 per day as a good place to start. If you want to get things going quickly and you want to sort of drive more traffic, you can adjust this manually. You may want to start it off running very, very high. So you may want to say $50 or $60 per day. That'll allow your ad to get up and running and in front of more people quicker. But generally, you probably want to run around $10 per day. But again, the more you spend, the wider the audience you're going to reach at any given time, because we are auctioning when our ads appear. Okay, so that's our daily budget. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on next. And this is where that Facebook business page comes into play. In the middle of the screen here, you can say we select the page. I'm going to use this real estate for sale page. Just makes it easy for the demonstration. But for you, it'll be whatever your business page is called that you created. You can also take this moment to create a new page. So if you don't already have one, you can click here to create a new Facebook business page and then run the ad against that. Then we're going to scroll down a little bit to this audience. And this is where you're going to define who gets to see the ad. And there's a couple of things that we're going to do. We're going to go into this locations and we're going to click edit. And what we want to do is we want to select the type of audience we want to target with this ad. Typically for what we want to do, we want to choose people who are living in this location. Normally when you're looking for people who are buyers in a particular area or sellers in a particular area, you might want to have people living in this location as your primary method for targeting people. But you may also want to choose one of these other ones. And the one that's particularly interesting in real estate is people traveling to this location. If you happen to be farming in a vacation town, or you're on a coastal area where people come through and you're trying to get those travelers to purchase homes, this might be a good option for you. But typically you want people who are living in this location. That's what you're going to choose. Now you're going to choose what the actual location is. And a couple of things of note: you can't use a zip code. You have to use a city or a county or a region, a state even. And what I'm going to choose is I'm going to choose the area that I'm currently in. Oops, can't spell. I'm going to choose Milton, Ontario, which is where I currently am. And it's going to draw me this nice circle with the center of the circle dropped right on the city that I'm on. So I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see this. This little gray box you can see is the city. and this blue pin is being dropped on the city. And this is where some of those special housing categories come into play. The smallest circle that I can actually draw in the housing market is actually 15 miles. So this is the smallest that I can drop. I can also use a pin. So if I wanted to target multiple locations, I'm targeting Milton. Maybe I also want to drop a pin over here in the middle of nowhere, and I want to target these two locations. That's now giving me two different areas that would be targeting people who live in those locations to see my advertisement. So that's a little bit about that. As we scroll down a little bit more, we're going to keep it at automatic placements, and we're going to click on next. So now we're into the actual ad itself. So we've created our campaign, we've created our ad set. Now we're going to actually create the ad, and we're going to put some content in here of what it's going to look like. On the right-hand side, you get to see the preview of what the ad looks like. Because I have the some media already in my account, it's already preloaded a photo for me, so that's good for me. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, and you're going to see with the ad creative here, you can choose, with the video, you can edit this, you can pick and choose what media you want to use. But I'm going to start here. I'm going to start by building my ad, and maybe I want to target, homes for sale in Milton, Ontario, priced between 900,000 and 2.5 million. So that's sort of giving me my main primary text is what shows up here in the ad. And then for my headline, this is what's going to show up down here in this gray box. So I'm going to say here, view the latest Milton, Ontario listings. And that's going to populate here in this gray box, view the latest, Milton, Ontario listings. And then we're going to change our call to action to be learn more. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create that magical form that we talked about in the introduction, which is clicking here on create form. And I see a question in here about, can't adjust the diameter of the area below 25 miles. I don't worry too much about what I'm doing on the screen at the moment. We have lots of other webinars. I wanted to kind of give this introduction on the details of this, but I'm going to show you I'm showing you kind of the DIY way, the hard way to do this, but then I'm going to show you the easy way to do it as well. So just stay tuned. The question there, Mark, about do you change the age settings? You always leave it at 18 to 65. Facebook won't let you change that at all because of the housing category. You have to be in that 18 to 65. So we're going to create this form. We're going to click on here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create this form with the intent of more volume. We're going to remove this, this intro because it introduces friction, but then we're going to get into our questions. So here is where you're going to choose the question of what you want to ask. So we're going to ask for a full name. We're going to ask for an email. And then if you click on this, you're going to see that you've got the ability to bring in, you can bring in contact information. So I can bring in phone number as well. And all three of these fields will be pre-populated with the contact information from the person on Facebook on their account when they see the ad. So this is all you have to do. The next thing you need to do is add a privacy policy. And where you're going to get that is from your website. So I'm going to scooch over to my kvCORE website. And everybody has this. So if you go to your website and you scroll right down to the very bottom of your homepage, you're going to see this link called privacy down here at the bottom. When I click on that, it gives me this URL. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to drop it into my ad. So I'm going to put my link in here and I'm going to put my link text as privacy policy. And then on completion, what you can do is set up a link for people to actually drop into. So I'll drop into my website, not on the privacy policy. And I've got my call to action to view website. So that's it. Everything is now set up. When I publish this ad and this form, it's actually going to create it and it's actually going to get this running. So what this will do is it'll create my ad, it'll get it running on Facebook. And when people come through and they register, it's going to be pre-filled out for them and we're going to capture those leads. But before we go any further, I want to talk a little bit about the process for actually retrieving these leads. So what is something to keep in mind with this is that you're building this entirely on the Facebook side of things. And there's a couple of things you can do here to actually get your leads out of Facebook and into your CRM. As I'm talking through this, I'm going to walk you through what you're going to do. What you can actually do is go into your ad that's already been created, and you're going to look for this little box that says results. And this little link here will give you the ability to download a file that includes all of the leads that were generated by your ad. So you can kind of go and let this go and run, and then you can download that file and you can use the kvCORE lead import to bring them into the CRM. But that's really kind of time consuming. You're going to have to do that every day because you're going to get leads every couple of days. You're going to have to worry about duplication. It really is a bit of a hassle to go through and do this manual step by step. So there's actually a couple of easier ways to do this. And this is going to require us to do a little bit of integration between Facebook and kvCORE using one of two tools. One is called API Nation, and I'll show you how to get there in a second. And the other one is to use Zapier. And Zapier is a lot more sophisticated. It comes at an additional cost. If you're interested in using Zapier, I will drop a link into the chat to a video that'll walk you through how to set up Zapier to talk to Facebook. But API Nation is another way to get that going for you, and it's free. So what we can do with that is I'm going to go to kvCORE, and then I'm going to scroll over here to the marketplace, and then I'm going to search for API. If you haven't been to the marketplace before, what marketplace is a great place to come and see different add-ons that you can add into the Facebook, into your kvCORE account for various different reasons. You can see right across the top here, we've got add-ons for your website. You've got listing add-ons, leads, finances, third-party tools. There's all sorts of different services and products you can purchase through the marketplace that make your life easier and make your kvCORE system a lot more powerful. But for the purposes of getting your lead formats connected to your kvCORE, you can use API Nation. When I click on this and add to kvCORE, it's going to give me the ability to configure this Facebook lead ad. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull up your lead forms, it's going to pull up your ads, allow you to map the different fields of what you just set up, and then that will flow all of your leads from Facebook directly into kvCORE, so you don't have to worry about doing that configuration. The other way, like I mentioned before, the more advanced way is to use Zapier. And I have a video here that I'm going to actually share the link to this video. I'm going to drop it right here into the chat for everyone and just say this is the Zapier. So it's a little more advanced, but it gives you the ability to go and do this on your own, manage your own ad spend, do everything 100% manually, and customize it on your own. With that being said, for some people, this has been really tricky. And there's a lot of steps and a lot of information that I just presented in the last 10 minutes that can take a long time for people to get used to. And even if you've done this hundreds of times, you're still going to run into something that prevents your ads from running, and you're going to have some time and some money wasted. So if you think your time is more valuable working with your clients or behind a computer screen, I've got good news for you. I have an easier way to do this. And the first way we're going to talk about doing that is using a product called Core Property Boost, which is inside of the marketplace, and I'll show you how to get there. But this is a really simple way to get started advertising your listings on Facebook. So what Property Boost is just like we talked about before, and the example I just showed you, you're going to be able to create the exact same type of ad that we just did through all of those steps in the last 15 minutes, but we're going to do it for you in just a couple of clicks, and I'll demonstrate that for you in a second. And the nice thing about this is you get the beautiful ad running on Facebook. You don't even have to worry about having a Facebook business account because we take care of everything for you. It runs on our own generic pages, so you don't have to worry about having a Facebook account even. Makes it really, really easy to do. There is no complex setup with Zapier or API Nation. Your leads will flow into kvCORE automatically. We've taken care of that for you. And these ads are optimized. So our ads team manages these. We optimize them and make sure that we're trying to make sure that you're getting as low a cost per lead as possible without you having to think about it. The nice thing about Property Boost too is that it has a way of showcasing yourself and the value you've provided to your sellers by including them on the form, so they're actually getting any reports on how well your ad is doing, how many impressions it's doing. So you're looking like a hero to your sellers with all the marketing that you're doing for their property. And then last but not least, this is a tool that you can use really easily in your listing presentation. You can put this together. You can take this little snapshot, put it in your listing presentation to show off how you're going to go about marketing in the listing. And like I said before, this really is an easy button to get this up and running. And I'll show you how to do that now. So to do Property Boost on your own, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to kvCORE, into the marketplace, and I'm going to show you where Property Boost is. This nice little image here, it says Core Property Boost. Click on sign in, and it's going to take me right into Property Boost. All I have to do is enter an address of a listing that I have. I'm going to use this listing, and it's already created the ad for me. So all I have to do here is choose one of 4 different listing types. We have basically an entire life cycle for your advertisement, from when you just list your listing right through to when it's sold. I can pick and choose those. It gives me a different ad template. I can select what image gets used here. And then all I have to do is choose my targeting, add any compliance text, and then I put my credit card in and I purchase it, and we're done. So the nice thing about Property Boost, as opposed to the way we presented it before, is that this method is fully automated, and we take care of all the hard work and all the heavy lifting for you. Property Boost is priced this way. So you can spend $60 as your basic price. That's going to get you 1 week of advertising. And typically what we're seeing on average for your $60 purchase, you're going to see leads in the range of about $7 per lead coming through Facebook, which is a pretty good value. Some areas you're seeing Property Boost come in lower than that. Some areas are higher. It really depends on the supply and demand, but on average across the nation, we're seeing about $7 per lead for leads coming in from Property Boost. And all it takes is a few clicks to get there. We make it even easier for you. So as you get new listings, and if you're newer to kvCORE, you may have seen some of these come through already, but you could, you could already have seen these emails come into your inbox when you get a new listing, asking you to boost it. We make it super easy for you. 1 click, it takes you right from that email into Property Boost. Go through, put your card information in, and purchase the ad, and make it super easy. We'll get the ad running within 24 hours, and then you'll start to see leads come in pretty quickly after that. So this is great, but you might want more. So Property Boost is 1 listing at a time. It is really easy. We send out those 1-click emails for every new listing you get to remind you to go and boost your properties. But what if there was a subscription service that allowed you to show more listings and run all month long? So probably all waiting for this if you've got this in your mind. So if you have a higher volume of listings and you want to promote them all, there's another option for you, which is called Get Buyer Leads. And this, again, is leveraging those Facebook lead form ads, but it's using a product called Dynamic Ads for Real Estate to create ads that are updated with a new catalog of listings automatically. So these are dynamic, and they're showing local buyers a targeted selection of listings from your website. So based on what your office has available from the MLS. And these are automatic. We're kept up to date all the time with any new listings that come in. When listings go off the market, we take them out of the catalog. And these are sort of set it and forget it. It's a monthly subscription, and these are always on and running. And what you see is very similar to what we had with Property Boost, where you've got kind of the ad running with that image. But the difference is that now you have a carousel of all different listings that you can use that the lead can see. This actually is very engaging for people too, because as they come across it and they see that first listing that is of interest to them, they scroll past it to the next one, and to the next one, and to the next one, and they start scrolling through your listings right on their Facebook app, and then they click through to actually, see the details on them. And once they do, we'll actually retarget them because they visited your website. We'll be able to retarget them with that ad again to show them new listings as they come up in your catalog every month. So here's an example of what one looks like. You can see on the left-hand side, I'm scrolling through this ad. I've got multiple listings in there and I can see them. I can click on learn more, and that'll direct me right to the agent's website and have me pre-registered through the lead form, drop me right onto that listing detail page, similar to Property Boost, except you're seeing up to 50 in the carousel all the time. Now, to use this, you're going to, this is a subscription fee, service, like I said before. Get Buyer Leads starts at $500 per month, and that's going to get you that ad running on Facebook. Set it and forget it. You don't have to do anything except define your targeting area. And that targeting area is basically who is going to be eligible to see the ad. Just like we did in the demonstration when I was building the ad earlier, you're going to pick an area by zip code, and that zip code is going to be sort of the center point of your circle that you're drawing in Facebook. And then we're going to sort of capture people that are within that circle. Now, the thing about this, and you can choose a zip code anywhere you want, you do not have to be reliant on the listings that are in your website feed. Any listings that you have will be in the ad, regardless of the zip code that you choose for the targeting area. So that's a little bit about this one. But some people might be asking, what if I don't have any listings? Because not everybody has listings. Listings are hard to come by these days, you know, very low inventory in some markets. So that's a great product. But what if I want a subscription, but I don't have the listings? In that case, we have a third product for you, which is called Facebook AI and Retargeting. And how this works is that it's similar to what we have with the Get Buyer Leads, except this one is a more generic advertisement that is running that ad. That'll be more like what I showed you in the example. This is an example of what the ad looks like. We use generic imagery with a call to action to view all the just listed homes now available in your area. Similar to what we had before, these are managed ads. We optimize them for you to make sure they're always running. These are developed in conjunction with Facebook's product team, as well as our own ad expertise internally. They're highly relevant ads. They're created immediately based on the zip code that you choose. That's how we do the targeting. It's based on that location. And then Facebook's algorithm, again, is using the propensity to purchase, the demographics, et cetera, to actually create that ad and put it in the screens of people. Unlike the other product with the dynamic ads, this one actually, we will have a small portion of the spend, depending on how it performs, split between Facebook and Instagram. Budgeting for this one, the cost starts at $250 per month and goes up to $2,000 per month, depending on how much you want to spend. Cost per lead is between $5 and $10 on this one in most markets. And again, we do require a 3-month commitment to get this one going. Now, what I wanted to just sort of show everybody before we go into questions is that when you're thinking about all these different products and you're thinking about how you balance this and, you know, how do I go about choosing to maximize my spend, I want people to keep in mind how this typically works with online leads. And what we have to do is assume, about a 1% annual conversion rate. So that means that for every 100 leads you have coming in from an online source, only about one of them is going to actually convert into a transaction. So if you think about it, in this case, if we were to take this higher price point per lead at $10, multiply by that 100, it means it takes about $1,000 of investment in order to achieve a transaction. And that's using that higher price per lead estimate. If we assume, about $200,000 average per side of the national average, that means that if I get a 2.5% commission out of that, I stand to earn about $5,000 from that $1,000 investment. So typically that's what we like to go through, is to sort of illustrate that as you're building a plan for yourself and you're thinking about the cost of some of these products, whether it's high volume of leads or low volume of leads, it does take a bit of investment. You have to have this kind of investment mindset when you're thinking about advertising for your real estate business. So that we've gone over a lot here. I'm going to just sort of give people a bit of a refresher on kvCORE in the marketplace, just so that we can look at these individually. So I'm going to navigate again to the marketplace. And if we click up here on the leads filter in the beginning of the marketplace, it's going to pull up all of the different ad products that we talked about today. We've got Facebook AI and Retargeting. You've got your Property Boost over here. And then if we scroll down a bit, you'll see Get Buyer Leads. We also have a seller-focused advertising product as well. very similar in nature, except where the call to action is very different. So if you look, this is where you're going to find all of these different products, and each one of these has a full description of the product. You'll find videos, you'll find the ROI calculators, all of the stuff here, and all you have to do is really select your website and get moving on the purchase of these products. With that, I'm going to turn over to the questions and see if there's anything that has come up consistently and make sure we answer the questions. So there's a question here from Lauren. Can you change the page it displays using a property boost? He said it shows up on your default page. Yeah, so with property boost and with all of our advertisements, they're running against a generic Facebook page. We don't require you to have your own page at the moment. So we'll always run them against something like real estate for sale, free home value reports, etc. We have a whole suite of pages that we'll run them against. So the next question here is, if you went with property boost and ran it for 2 weeks, but the house sold in the first week, can you turn it off and get a credit? No, we don't actually give credits, and we don't turn the ads off either. And there's good reason for that as well, because your ad can continue to drive leads into your database to start conversations with people and have them look at other listings on your website. So while the property might sell in the first week, that doesn't necessarily mean that the ad has to stop running, and it'll continue running until the listing is no longer in the MLS feed. Don't have an Instagram account. Can I be advised how to create it? Again, with all of our ad products, you don't need to create an Instagram account or a Facebook account. It is something that is it's included. We take care of all of that for you, so you don't need to worry about creating those. And then there's a question, how can I see my own ads? So with the ads, as you're building your property boost ad, for example, like I showed you before, you're actually going to see the sample of what the ad looks like. So as you're building it, if you're changing images, for example, it'll change right on there. If I add the price onto the listing, it's updating this preview for you, so you don't have to worry about seeing it. With the other ads, they're all pretty generic, and the samples are shown inside of the purchase process, so you don't really need to have a look at them. But there are ways to get a view of those, and our support team can get those to you if you need to. Let's go through the chat a little bit here. So yeah, so a great question here from Crystal with the Get Buyer Leads. Does it use your office listings from the MLS and not just your listings? Absolutely correct. It does use your office listings. So when I go into my kvCORE and I go to here where it says company listings, these are the listings that are used to populate the listing catalog for those ads. So if it's here, it'll show up in the listing catalog. So it does give you the ability to leverage any of the listings that your office has in this section of kvCORE. So great question here. I'm a new agent. So far, I have no listings under my name. I wanted to boost a listing from my office, but I can't find it challenging to boost a property for sale by my colleague. So that's the other thing about Property Boost is you can boost any listings from your office. So if I was here inside of kvCORE, to answer your question, Safia, I'm here in kvCORE. I'm under the listings tab here. If I click on this listing here, you'll see there's a button here called Boost. By selecting this listing and clicking Boost, this is going to take me right to Property Boost to create a boost for that listing. So what you need to do is work with those who are in your office. So if this was somebody else's listing in my office, reach out by email, get their permission to do it. It's great promotion for your listing. So people are going to be, happy to share their listings with you, but work with them just like you would if you were going to run an open house for somebody, or, run an ad in the newspaper or something like that for a listing for somebody else. Get their permission, work out a deal with them, and then go ahead and boost the ad. And most people will be happy to allow you to borrow listings because it is free promotion for their own listings. Great question. Yes, there will be a recording of this that'll be available afterwards, as well as on YouTube within a couple of days. So how would this benefit you if you were boosting somebody else's listing? Any of the leads, so because this is a listing that is in my office, for example, this listing is actually on my website. So when somebody clicks on this lead and learn more, they're going to be dropped onto my website, and I'm going to get the leads regardless of who owns the listing, because it came through my own personal website. Just going through here. Yeah, great question. Do you boost for land properties? Yes, absolutely. It doesn't have to be a home. It can be a land. We have a separate template that obviously would take out things like the number of bedrooms and bathrooms from the listing. So it's not showing how many bedrooms and bathrooms, obviously, if it's vacant land. And again, for commercial listings, even if you find that relevant. Just scrolling through some of the questions here. What is typically the copy in the post field? It's typically a highlight listing cool feature. Yeah, so we actually, the copy in the ads typically is drawn just from the basic features as well as the geography as to where it is located. As you can see in the sample, this is what we normally bring in. And the reason that we do this is because it is a nice balance between providing information and not providing too much that brings people, it prevents people from actually clicking through. So we're trying to draw them in. We're trying not to give them too much information, enticing them to see price, more pictures, etc. That's what we're trying to do, is entice them to click through. You can use this compliance text field. That's about 100 characters. If you don't have any requirements to display anything on the ad, you could highlight some cool features of the property, like brand new pool and roof installed in 2021. For example, I could put in a couple of features that I wanted to highlight, and that actually would show in the ad right under this text as well. So kvCORE. A great question about kvCORE support. Absolutely. On all the pages within kvCORE, you'll see this little chat icon down here that I can click on that'll actually bring people into a chat conversation. So you can actually start talking with people right through this little icon. And you'll see that whether I'm in kvCORE or in Property Boost, this little icon down here will allow you to get in and chat live with people. And if your question isn't answered, they do offer some ability to have some from some phone calls. If you need something wider, in deeper and broader in your setup and configuration, when you go into Marketplace, there actually is a couple of options that you can use around the coaching. So if you want to get your kvCORE set up, there is a product you can buy here. I believe it's priced at $3.99. And what this will do is configure your website, get your lead generation set up, follow up some automations, and you'll have a nice kickoff call with someone to give you a walkthrough. So you could always use this as a way to get your kvCORE set up. If you're brand new and don't have time to configure that on your own, you can always use this as an option. You can also go into this coaching session as another example. So this, whether it's a coaching session or a help session, you can actually book with a kvCORE expert, $100 for an hour to get somebody on the phone that you can talk to live. Great question about exclusive listing that's not on the MLS. So for Property Boost, for example, you actually have the ability to create a manual listing inside of kvCORE. So if I go to listings and you see here manual, I've got a bunch created. So the example I've actually been using through today's demonstration has been a manual listing. So if you have an exclusive that isn't on the MLS, you can create that listing here by going into add listing, and I can fill this all out. I can build up that listing, and what you get is, as an example, is this. So this is a listing that I've created. I've got a little gallery of images. You can map it where it actually is located. And then you can have all the different information about the property, set that all up here. And then when you go into Property Boost, you have the ability to actually boost that listing. And I'll show you how to identify them. I wish I could close this. I can't find there it is. So when you go back to Property Boost and I start typing in my address, You can see here in the brackets, it says manual. That means that it's a listing that I've created in my kvCORE account manually, and that'll allow me to just go ahead and boost that listing. Question here, how many ads can I place using kvCORE for $500 a month? You'll get one ad that runs for $500 per month, and that will run every day of the week on Facebook. It'll be active and live and dynamically updated. Katie, were there any questions that I need to sort of answer that you may have answered ahead of time that came up frequently during the session?
We just have one. It says you were saying we're allowed to market company listings, or we have to get written consent from the company first.
Yeah, so the best course of action that I would suggest is talk to your administrators within your brokerage to understand how they go about sharing listings and what the rules are there about getting listings promoted of other agents. The way that I look at it is that when you're, just to explain it, the listings that are from your company are available on your website, and your ad is just drawing attention to those to your website. So that it's a little different with your get buyer leads, but if you're promoting a listing specifically that belongs to somebody else and you're running that ad, work with the agent and get permission to run that ad with them. But I would suggest that you work with your brokerage and understand what the rules are there.
Someone was saying, can I update or edit my ad? And I'm not sure if they mean if they're creating it them. Can they ever edit their property boost ads? Or
no. Once the ad is running, property boost is actually any of the ads. So with the three ads types that we've gone through, 4 ad types: get buyer leads, property boost, Facebook AI. Once the ads are created, that's it, they're set. There's not much you can do with a property boost ad. If you wanted to run, another ad with a new price, for example, you can do that. So you can run various versions of the ad. So, if you think about the listing life cycle for property boost, you have one ad that's going to run for a week when it's just listed. You could run a 3-day ad for an open house. If the price goes down, you could run a price reduction, and then you could run an ad when it sells. So you can run these 4 different versions of the ad, but it's an individual purchase every time.
Let's see.
Oh, the question here, by exclusive, is that a pocket or private listing? Yes. So an exclusive would be something like a pocket listing or a private listing. There's a question here. My pick for my listing is not showing and it's not boosted yet. So with your new listings that come through, if it's brand new to the game, brand new on the market, the listing may not, the photos may not be available immediately, which you would see like a coming soon image, for example, instead of an image of the house. If that's the case and you really want to get it out, you could create a manual version of the listing and boost that. But I would suggest come back and try again in the next day, because we normally will get them within a couple of days, if necessary. It's been 2 weeks, but it hasn't been updated. I would suggest in that case, Crystal, you probably want to try creating a manual listing. Question here. I thought you couldn't market listings not on the MLS. That varies from MLS to MLS. So really, it's up to you to understand the rules as to what you can market and what you can't. So check with your real estate board if you're not sure. And there will be a recording sent out within a day or so. Yeah, so when you're looking at your office listings and you're seeing all pending, so for example, under company listings, there are filters here. So I can go in and choose, based on property type, style, options. There's all sorts of different filters you can apply there to see which listings are available. There's a question here. Please demonstrate it if possible. I'm not sure what you would like that demonstrated. So if you want to ask your question, I will happily oblige if I can. Oh, a commercial listing? That's kind of tricky. I don't actually know one off the top of my head. So I would just suggest that if you go into Property Boost and type in the address of your commercial listing, you'll see exactly what the template looks like. I don't have one on hand, so. For those, so Nadia, great question. There is a Facebook group. If you search for Inside Real Estate Discussion Group on Facebook, you'll be able to join that. So just put in your submission to join the Facebook group. Great idea that you can put that in there, and you can join that conversation and ask any questions and get support for anything you need down the road. So a great question here about leads, if they're exclusive to a zip code or shared with multiple agents. We do not recycle any leads whatsoever. So when you're running an ad, any leads that come in for that ad, they belong to you for all time. Even after your ad stops running, you still have the ability to work those leads for all time. So it's never shared. They're always exclusive to the person who purchased the ad. So if you have no listings to promote, the option that I would suggest would be either borrowing a listing and running Property Boost from somebody else, or I would suggest going to the, I'll go into Marketplace here and I'll just quickly click on leads. This Facebook AI and retargeting would be the great option for those who don't have listings to promote. This will actually get you an ad that looks like what I'm showing on the screen here, which is a a generic ad with a call to action to view listings, but it doesn't have to, it's not actually showcasing a listing, but when you click through, it'll land on your website and allow people to see any listings that are available through the MLS on your website. This is a great option. Pricing on this starts at $250 a month. Which will get you a nice ad running on Facebook, and that'll get some business coming your way through Facebook leads. A minimum time frame on this would be 3 months, but you should see results within the first week. You should start to see leads coming in from this ad. But then at that point, it's up to looking at the conversion rate. With Facebook ads, they are typically more passive in nature. You may not find people that are as ready to buy. The leads that are coming in through Facebook ads are typically 9 to 12 months away from purchasing. But it's definitely a good place to get started and have people that you're talking to and start conversations. Okay. Just going through here. I think we've answered all the outstanding questions that have come up, Katie. And I think what we'll do is a couple more. So for the Facebook AI program, would it be buyers and sellers? It is typically buyers because you can see the sample of the ad here. It's just listed homes now available for sale. So typically it's going to be targeting seller buyers, but I mean, you can turn a buyer into a seller just by starting a conversation, right there off the bat of, do you have a home to sell? That's a good place to start in your initial conversation with them. Next question here about what about recruiting for a team? Anything that we have? Absolutely. Great question. I'll go back to the marketplace really quickly, and I'm going to take my filter off here, all products. And the one I'm going to look for is ideal estate agent recruiting is what you want to look for. That's going to be the recruiting product that we have. So this is a great way to look. If you're looking to recruit people onto your team, this is a good place to start. I'm just looking here. I'm not sure what the MHG program is. This is what I'm talking about in this system is for everybody who has kvCORE. It's based on what's available based on your kvCORE configuration. So regardless of your website, as long as it's not a WordPress based site and it's one of our templated sites that you get out of the box, you're good to go. But this is for everybody in kvCORE. Oh, I see. My home. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that program, but it is it's just based on your kvCORE system in general. If I use Property Boost on a listing that is not mine, will I get lead? Absolutely, you will. Yeah, as long as the listing is available on your website, then yes, you will be able to get the lead for that. Otherwise, we can't run the ad. So it's got to be somebody within your company that whose listing is available on your site. Yeah. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to end there for today. Just to reiterate, the recording will be sent out to everybody within a day or so following the session. So look out for that, and we'll also include a link to the Zapier webinar video if you want to get into details about creating your own ads on your own. But thank you so much for your time and attention today. I really appreciate it. Great questions from everybody and good engagement. So I'm really glad to have you all here, and I will look forward to talking to you on the next one. On Thursday this week, we will be doing a deep dive into Property Boost. If you want to get more information about Property Boost, there'll be another webinar on Thursday afternoon at the same time that will help you with a deep dive into Property Boost, including some techniques for getting for how to communicate with your leads. So we'll go a little deeper on Thursday. Thank you.